Hello, 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 and welcome to Miss Hope's Reading Hour. Marvelous Monday to you all, and as always, in the month of March, happy Women's History Month. We're still in Women's History Month. It is the 22nd. It's almost over, but remember, I told you, women's history is all year long. All history is all year long. You know why? Because there are constantly people, men, women, children, everybody who are making a difference in the world and changing history as we know it. So, my friends, happy Women's History Month. So glad to be here with you this evening. Hopefully, you had a great weekend. My weekend was pretty good. I had a birthday party. We had a birthday party for my sister, who is a nurse. And we were like, listen, we got to have a great party because she has done so much this year to help people who have been suffering with coronavirus or any other sickness, going to work exhausted, all that kind of stuff. So we were like, we got to give her a great party. And she had so much fun. So glad we were able to do that. And for her birthday, her favorite cake is strawberry shortcake. So I made for the first time strawberry cupcakes with real strawberries in it, okay? And strawberry whipped cream icing with strawberries in it. They were amazing, okay? First time making them ever. Found the recipe, made them from scratch. They turned out awesome, okay? So that was really great. Had a really great Saturday. Then Sunday, I had homework to do, and I still got homework to do today. So until the end of this semester, most every day, I'm going to have homework. Well, my friends who do virtual school, some people will be going back to hybrid school. Some people have already started going to school all in person. So hopefully you guys had a great weekend and you were able to rest and relax, go out safely, of course, with social distancing, and as always, a mask. And you were able to play and enjoy the weather. Today, the weather was awesome outside. I went outside, I walked to the store, and I was like, "Ooh, it's nice out here today." So hopefully, my young ones, my older young ones, adult ones, hopefully you were able to get outside, get some of that vitamin D on your skin, feel the nice, cool, calm breeze, and just be outside in the sun. Hopefully you were able to do that, okay? Hello, Miss Brandy. So glad that you and the boys are here. Yes, the cupcakes were awesome, okay? First time making them. I was very proud of myself. Well, before we get into our books today, of course, let's give our disclaimer. The wonderful music that you will hear in the books that we will read. Unfortunately, Miss Hope's Reading Hour does not own the rights to them, but guess why they're here? They are here for your listening and reading enjoyment, okay? Also, if you would like to donate to the Miss Hope's Reading Hour Library, please feel free to donate via Cash App. The Cash App handle is HopeGM, HOPEGM, all one word, all lowercase, and it is in the ticker. Any amount would be greatly appreciated to contribute to the Miss Hope's Reading Hour Library. All proceeds from any collections that we do here on Miss Hope's Reading Hour goes straight to buying more books, okay? Also, you can donate by digital gift card by sending those to Miss Hope's Reading Hour email address, which is right down here in the ticker. And if you want to just mail me some books, guess what? send me an email and we can talk about how you can do that, okay? Now, if you saw the teaser, okay, today, of course, since it's still Women's History Month, we are talking about sisterhood today. What would you do for your sister? Now, I have a sister. I have a real sister, and I have a sister cousin. Okay, she's actually more sister than cousin. Okay, but really she's my cousin, but she's more sister than cousin. So we call her the sister cousin. Okay, and I know that a lot of you probably have people in your family, in your life, who are like that too. So we wanted to talk about, what would you do for your sister? I know sometimes with siblings, sometimes they can get on your nerves. Sometimes they can make you mad. Sometimes you don't want to talk to them. But we all love them and we would do anything for them. So, in our first two books, we will be talking about and discovering, what would you do for your sister? So, our first book is called Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away. Evelyn Del Rey is moving away. Look at them. So this book is by Newbery medalist. That's one of those important literary medals. Newbery medalist Meg Medina, illustrated by Sonia Sanchez. So this isn't the same Sonia Sanchez who is the famous poet. But when I looked at it, I was like, whoa, I didn't know Sonia Sanchez also drew pictures. So I looked at the back of the dust jacket and I was like, oh, that's not her. But still a very important person, okay? So Evelyn Del Rey is moving away. And we're going to talk about a special type of sisterhood in this book. Also, our next book, another Newbery medalist. This book is called Naya's Long Walk. Naya's Long Walk. Okay. And this is by Newbery medalist Linda Sue Park and Coretta Scott King award winner Brian Pinkney. That's another literary award. All right. So Naya's Long Walk, a step at a time. That will be the next book that we read. And of course, okay, we got to get back to Miss Patina, okay? We are still learning about her life. Oh, I have to drop the book. Still learning about Patina. So if you want to know, this is Patina, the character, and then that's her little sister, Maddie. Okay, so we are still learning about Patina. Her just lost the word. That's a shame. So her track team, the Defenders that she's on, also her schooling at Chester Academy, which she is not very fond of, and her family. Last week we learned how she came into running on the track team because she had to make her sister a pinky promise that had something to do with when her mother lost her legs because of diabetes. But we'll get more into Patina's story when we get to the chapbook, okay? Now, our first book, let's start with Naya's Long Walk, One Step at a Time, by Linda Sue Park, a Newbery medalist. All right, let's take that dust jacket off. And it looks the same underneath. So if I ever lose the dust jacket, I'll still know what book it is. Okay? Now let's see, who is the publisher of this book? This book is published by Clarion Books, an imprint of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Books. All right. So it was saying how to pronounce Naya's book because this takes place in South Sudan. So, okay, if I get this wrong, don't beat me, okay? Because I don't want to butcher people's names, even character names. Come on, Naya said. Why are you so slow today? I'm tired, Akir said. Naya sighed. It was a long way to the waterhole. I'll tell Mama that you were trouble, she said. Don't, Akir begged. I'll be good. She started walking a little faster. She's like, come on. But she's a little. Her legs aren't as long as yours. Akir, look, Naya pointed to the horizon, where she could see a dust cloud. What is it? I can't see, Akir whined. Antelope or a truck? Too far away to tell. Probably antelope. Trucks were a rare sight in their village. Akir was slowing down again. Naya said, You know the clapping game? Let's sing the song. And do the clapping too? Not while we walk, but later, okay? At the waterhole, they took long drinks. Naya filled the jerry can. Then they played the clapping game twice. Time to go, Naya said. So that's where they carried the water in when they went to the water hole. It's called a jerry can. Akir dragged her feet. She walked more and more slowly. Soon she began to cry and sat down on the ground. I can't walk anymore, she said. It's too far and I'm too tired. Don't be silly, Naya snapped. You've walked this before lots of times. Akir cried and snuffled and hiccuped. She looked up at Naya, her eyes very big. Naya frowned. Akir was not a crybaby. Usually she skipped along, chattering like a starling. A starling is a kind of bird. I can imagine South Sudan in Africa is probably really hot. Naya knelt in front of Akir and felt her face. Akir's forehead and cheeks were burning hot. She had stopped crying and was quiet and still. Akir was sick, maybe very sick. Naya felt worry swelling inside her. They were at least half a morning's walk away from home. Wow. They had to walk really far just to get water. I must run and get help, she thought. She took a few steps, then glanced back at Akir. No, she could not leave Akir alone. Should they stay and wait for help? It might be hours before someone came. Akir would get sicker and sicker. I will have to carry her, and the water too. Her mother would need the water to help make Akir better. Naya opened the jerry can and poured out half the water. She picked up the can, hefted its weight, and shook her head. Still too heavy. She poured out a little more. That jerry can does look like it's pretty heavy. I can only imagine how heavy it is with water inside. Akir! Akir opened her eyes. They were dull and sad. I know you don't feel well, Naya said, trying to keep her voice steady. But you have to climb on my back and hold tight. Can you do that? Akir got on Naya's back. Naya used her headscarf to tie Akir in place the way her mother did. Then she picked up the jerry can and began to walk. Akir was heavy. The water was heavy. Naya could only take a few steps before she had to rest. Home was so far away. Tears filled Naya's eyes. I can't do it. It's too far. Naya saw a tamarind tree up ahead. She swallowed and blinked away her tears. I'll go to the tree. I'll put Akir down there. When she got to the tree, she thought she might be able to walk a little more. Those thorn bushes. I'll rest there. At the bushes, she rested for a moment. Akir had fallen asleep. Farther on, Naya saw an old stump. I can make it to that stump. I know I can. Step by step, a bit at a time, Naya kept walking. Outside the village, people came running. Thank goodness. Mama took Akir. Someone else took the water. Everyone rushed away. Naya sat down on the ground. She slumped for a long time with her head in her hands until she heard footsteps coming toward her. It was Mama. Oh, she looked so worried. We think Akir has the sickness that comes from drinking dirty water, she said. She needs to go to the clinic. It would take Mama 2 to 3 days, to walk to the clinic. She would have to carry Akir, as well as food and water for the trip. I'll need your help, Mama said. Naya didn't answer. I'm so tired. I can't walk anymore today. I know you're tired, Mama said, but we have to go now. Naya saw Mama's face, full of worry. She remembered how Akir had looked, so sad and afraid. Maybe I can walk a little more, as long as I go a step at a time. She got to her feet. When we're at the clinic, I can sing to Akir, she said, and play the clapping game with her. She likes that. Mama nodded and held out her hand. She is lucky to have you as a sister, she said. Naya took Mama's hand. Together, they went to help Akir. And then what happened? Akir got better after a stay in the clinic. She was fortunate. Waterborne diseases are the leading cause of death worldwide for children under the age of 5. The dust cloud Naya saw was indeed a truck. It was driven by a man named Sulva Dut, a former refugee and head of an organization called Water for South Sudan. Eventually, Salva and his crew would install a clean water well in Naya's village. The village now has far fewer cases of waterborne illness. And because Naya and the other village girls no longer have to walk hours every day to fetch water, they have time to go to school. As of 2019, Salva's organization has drilled more than 340 wells, serving at least 250,000 people. Students from schools in the US and many other countries have participated in fundraising activities and sponsored 139 of those wells, as well as donating money for a new drilling rig. Naya and her family are fictional characters, but their story is typical of villagers all over South Sudan. And look at Naya and her sister Akir in their uniforms because they get to go to school. The end. This was a beautiful story about sisterhood, about what you would do for your sister. So, Naya, she had to figure out what to do. Now, she could have just thought that Akir was being a brat and didn't want to walk ahead. She could have ran and left her, but she had to think. She thought about, I think Akir will be afraid if I leave her here. And what if something happens to her? So I'm going to have to carry her. This story showed Naya's love for her sister. And there are sisters all over this country who love their sisters the same way and would do anything for them. So, even though Naya was tired once she got to the village, she could have been bratty now when her mom said that they needed to go to the clinic and she needed her help. She could have said, "Mama, I'm sorry, I cannot walk with you. I can't help you. I'm too tired. Let me stay here with another family in the village." And if she protested enough, her mother probably would have said okay. But she didn't just think about helping her mom. She thought about how she could help her sister while she was in the clinic. She said, "I can sing to my sister and I can play the clapping game with her while she's in the hospital because that's something that she would like." And when you do things like that for people, it always makes them feel better. Always. So my sister, right? I was sick in the hospital one time. It's when I was younger and when I was older. And there's this song, I will not sing it, that is a nursery rhyme. And not a very good nursery rhyme either. Because when you sing it, you're like, that song's a little creepy. But when I wasn't feeling well, when I was in the hospital, and I had to be in the hospital for months, my sister, she would sing that song. And when I was like really, really little, she would sing the song and like sing it really funny at the end. And it would always make me laugh. So anytime that I felt really, really bad or I felt really, really sick, my sister would sing that song for me because she knew that it would make me laugh. And laughter always makes you feel better. And that's what sisters do for each other. Even if we argue, get mad at each other, and don't want to speak to each other, and turn our backs to each other, we still love each other. And so we'll do things that we know will make each other feel better and want to take care of one another. So that is sisterhood, okay? Now, let's get into our next book that talks about a different type of sisterhood. This one talks about a different type of sisterhood. Because I was wondering, which book was I going to read with Naya's long walk? And I was like, oh, I think this one is perfect because it talks about a different type of sisterhood. Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away by Meg Medina. I think this one looks the same under the dust jacket too. Haha, it does. It does. We put it up here. And who is the publisher of this here book? If I sneeze, everybody, it's because I can feel it coming on. I feel a sneeze. My allergies have been a little funny. Some of my young ones, I know you know what I'm talking about. So if there's a sneeze in the middle of the book, know that I told you about it. So this is a Candlewick Press book. Evelyn Del Rey is my mejor amiga, my numero uno best friend. Come play, Daniela, she says, just like she always does. Just like today is any other day. So I bundle up and cross the street. A big truck with its mouth wide open is parked at the curb, ready to gobble up Evelyn's mirror with the stickers around the edge, her easel for painting on rainy days, and the sofa that we bounce on to get to the moon. She is waiting for me inside the iron doors. Then we climb the steps, 2 at a time, just like we always do. We sneak past grouchy Mr. Miller's door and wave at Mr. Sue, who's feeding pigeons from the hall window. Senora Flores gives each of us a cookie and says, it's the big day when we walk by. Our apartments are almost twins, just like us. That's why I already knew all the good places for hide and seek and the spot behind the heater where we keep our special finds. But the walls in Evelyn's room are sunny yellow, while mine are pink like cotton candy. And I live with my mommy and a hamster, and she has a mommy, a puppy, and a cat. We are mostly the same, just like our apartments, but not after today. We find a still empty box near the door. In no time, I am a bus driver steering us all over the city. We play until the tables that were bus stops are gone, and the beds that were skyscrapers have vanished too. When we look around, everything has disappeared, except us. Soon the truck outside rumbles off, and there is a knock on the door. Hide, we say, giggling, just like we always do. But our mothers see us before we can slip away. Time to go, Mommy says. Evelyn and I hold hands in that wide, empty space. We lean back and start to spin in circles, faster and faster until everything is a blur around us. Our fingers slip, but we don't let go until we wobble to the floor. We can talk every day after school, I tell her, though the world is still whirling. And you can visit me this summer, she says, and spend a night. They don't want to let each other go. But I know that tomorrow, everything will be different. Evelyn will be in a new home that doesn't match mine. Before we leave, I spot something in the corner, left behind in the dust. It's the last of Evelyn's sparkly stickers. We go downstairs, and I press a heart on her cheek to seal our promise. Then she does mine, just the same. That is sweet. We say, Patata, while Mommy takes a photo. We do our secret handshake one more time. And then Evelyn hugs me hard. Evelyn Del Rey is moving away, so she won't be right here anymore. Aww. Mommy says not to be sad, that we will both make new friends. But when Evelyn waves one last time, the stickers still on her cheeks, I know she will always be my first mejor amiga, my numero uno best friend. Aww. The one I will always know by heart. That's Daniela when she's older. The end. Oh, I love this story. When I first saw it, when I was going to order books, I was like, Evelyn Del Rey is moving away? I don't know. But then I kept coming back to it. I put it in my cart. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to get that one. And then I kept coming back to it. And then I finally said, no, I'm going to get this one. So these two are best friends. And they think of themselves as twins. They don't look alike, but they like a lot of the same things. And because of that, they're best friends. And the reason why I said this is like a special sisterhood story, because a lot of times we will make friends. We might have real sisters of our own, but then we make friends with people from even when we are children, and they become like sisters to us. And for the gentlemen, like brothers to us. And so it can be really difficult when they move away, and then you don't get to see them as much as you want to. And sometimes you don't get to see them anymore at all, which that hurts a little. That really does. That has happened to me before when I was in elementary school and I had a friend named Rose and she moved away and I never saw her again. And I was so sad. And I didn't have any way to get in touch with her. So we weren't able to stay in touch with each other. But I do have other friends that I've known since I was 5 years old. Since I was five, since I was in first grade. And then I have a few really special friends who I think of like sisters, that I can tell them anything and we laugh kind of at the same jokes and we like the same things. I remember my one friend, AJ, I met her in the 7th grade. And come to find out, I found a girl who also liked football, just like I did. And so we were watching, I think we were in high school, and we were watching football. And I don't know how, it seemed like no one was home in either one of our houses, but the Super Bowl was on. And so we were like, okay, I'll call you every time our team makes a touchdown. And we were like, okay. And so every time the touchdown happened, we would get on the phone and call each other. So those are like kinds of things that you really love to be able to do with your best friends. I sang at her wedding. That was so awesome that she would want me to do something like that. But you have those special friends who are more like family than they are just friends or people that you know. So if by chance you don't have any brothers or sisters, you might be an only child, or you might have brothers and sisters that are way older than you and you're the youngest, so they're often living their own lives. Don't despair. You can make a lot of wonderful friends, and then you can have those special friends who are like a sister or a brother to you. Okay? So, 2 very good books about sisterhood. So glad I got to read those with you all. Now, my friends, you know we got to get to Miss Patina and find out what is going on with her. Okay? We got to get to Miss Patina. So we are in, we have read quite a bit of this book. I just realized we've read quite a bit. Okay. So I believe we might still be in chapter 6. Some of these chapters are kind of long. But yeah, we're still in chapter 6, probably almost done with it. So in this chapter, just to catch you up. So Patina was talking about how she came to even be on the track team at all. And I thought that her mom, her dad, her Uncle Tony, and Mom Lee kind of tricked her. But they didn't. She got on the track team because Maddie, her sister, she was too young to understand why her mother's legs were gone. So she decided to write a letter to her mom's legs and for a school project. And then she asked, where, have you gone? Are you going to come back anytime soon? We really would like to have you back. We miss you. And it made Patina kind of emotional, like, oh my goodness, what do I tell her? And she was like, well, after I take it to school, I want you to send it to Mom's legs. And she was like, you know where to send it, right? She was like, I don't know. But she didn't say, I don't know. In her mind, she was like, I don't know. And then she said, well, what about our legs? Are our legs going to stay? Are your legs going to just run away? And she said, no, I promise they won't. And she said, you pinky promise? And trying not to cry, Patina said, I pinky promise. And so she had to find a way to show her that the promise was real. That's where the track team comes in. So she found out about this track club. And so she joined because if I got to run track, my legs can't go anywhere. So she was thankful that she didn't have to try to come up with a story. The track team helped all of that out. So that's where we were. And before we ended, where we stopped in chapter 6, we found out that Momly has her own patient care company that she runs. And their mother is one of her clients. And her mom wasn't a fan of having her brother's wife be her caretaker. But she came around to the idea. So that is where we are right now in chapter 6 of Patina, Patty Ain't No Joke, by Jason Reynolds. Let's continue with chapter 6. All right, let's see. Well, my favorite patient besides your mother, Momly clarified about Mr. Warren. Oh, yeah. Well, my favorite patient besides your mother, Momly clarified about Mr. Warren. He was an old man who had Alzheimer's, which basically means he can't remember too much anymore. She said sometimes random stuff popped into his head, but usually he doesn't know where he is, even though he's in his own house. So he just stays in bed now, and Momly goes over there and feeds him and makes sure he's all cleaned up while his daughter runs out taking care of errands and stuff. Momly's been looking out for him for a long time. I went to use the bathroom, and when I got back to the room, he was out of the bed, tearing the room apart, looking for something. He was yanking clothes out of the closet and snatching pictures off the wall. So I asked him what he was looking for, and he said, something to buff the floor with. Buff the floor? Uncle Tony asked. I was just as confused. That's what he said. And when I told him the floor didn't need buffing, he explained to me that he had mouths to feed. And who was going to take care of his family? Momly laid her napkin in her lap, all proper, like she was eating in front of folks she ain't even know. Eventually, I got him to calm down, got him back in the bed where he seemed to just melt back into himself. And I put everything back in the closet and hung the pictures back on the wall. She shook her head. Just one of those days. Poor guy. Momly took a breath, then turned to me. Speaking of pictures on the wall, Patty, how's the whole Frida thing going? Momly now pushed her fork through one of the tiny trees. Tired seemed to sit in her cheeks, making her face look saggy. It wouldn't have surprised me if she fell asleep right there at the table. It's Frida, right? I nodded. I'd asked her if she knew anything about Frida when we first got the assignment, but she said she didn't. She had seen her in pictures, but that was pretty much it. It's going okay, I told her. She seemed like a cool lady, but not as cool as you, Uncle Tony said, wiggling his eyebrows. I'm sure if Momly was done small talking me about my school project, but if she wasn't, Uncle Tony definitely ended any chance of it continuing because he awkwardly made a hard left into a totally different conversation. How was practice? Frida to track practice? Worst transition of all time. This is why Momly's the small talk queen and Uncle Tony's the cartoon character. But I knew Uncle Tony wasn't trying to be rude, and that his jumpiness was all about my second place loss at the meet on Saturday, which, by the way, he wasn't at. Had an emergency at the office. He does something called information technology, which is IT for short, or IT for even shorter, which is what he says, which all just means he works with computers. And apparently, sometimes computers have emergencies. Anyway, all this weird dinner time chat was his way of knocking on the door of my brain, like, hey, is it okay for me to come in? And if it wasn't for practice today, maybe I'd still be mad. I told him and Mommy and Maddie about being chosen for the 4x800 relay team and doing the waltz. The waltz? Like the ball gown, pinky in the air dance? Pinky in the air was Uncle Tony's way of saying fancy. Yep, it was to teach us something about being in tune with each other, like knowing each other so well that we don't even have to think about the handoff. Maddie, sweetheart, eat your cauliflower. Mommy's exhausted voice slid between me and Uncle Tony's. Maddie groaned. Eat your cauliflower, I repeated. It'll make you strong. Uncle Tony, following my lead, curled up his arms, making his muscles jump. Maddie smiled. Well, if doing the waltz is all it takes, then let me show you how to run even faster, Uncle Tony said. Then as soon as he said it, he braced himself, thinking I would catch feelings, as if I thought he was saying I don't run fast enough, and judging by Saturday, I don't, not fast enough. But it was cool. Uncle Tony, I'm not mad no more, I told him, getting straight to the point so he could stop acting so weird. His shoulders dropped, rolled back as if he just unbuttoned the top button on his pants after a big meal. Oh, thank God. He exhaled the words, and I smirked, then tapped my fork on Maddie's plate. She stabbed a piece of cauliflower, lifted it to her mouth. Uncle Tony continued, so yeah, if you want to run faster, try this. He scooted out from the table. Momly was already frowning at whatever was coming. And then it came. The strangest thing I've seen Uncle Tony do, maybe ever. The running man. Spastic and offbeat and all over the place. Maddie bursted out laughing. White mush in her mouth. And I was right behind her, my laughter scrubbing away the last 10% of sad in me. Uncle Tony lurched forward, pumping his legs, panting, this is how you do it, Patty. And I kept snickering. My uncle, a straight up clown. Chapter 7. To do. Calm down. Count to 10. Or 10,000. The first thing I do in the morning, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, is send Ma a text message of a smiley face, just to let her know I'm thinking about her on the days she has to get her blood cleaned. And when I say cleaned, I don't mean cleaned like scrubbed. You try to scrub blood, you're just going to wind up with nasty red hands. What I mean by cleaned is the doctors do this thing where they run the blood out of one of her veins through a tube that's connected to a machine. And that machine takes all the bad stuff out and then pumps the blood out of the other end through a different tube and back into a different vein. Takes like 3 or 4 hours and leaves her super tired. But she got to do it because the sugar also broke her kidneys. And when your kidneys don't work, your blood gets dirty. And when your blood gets dirty, it basically messes up all kinds of other stuff inside you. Think about it like this. When you get dirt in your shoes, do it feel good? Nope. It makes you walk with a limp. like there's little fires blazing between your toes. And when you get dirt in your eye, can you see? Of course not. And it burns like crazy too, like every little speck of dirt, like a teeny tiny little match. So imagine having dirt in your blood, mess your whole body up, make your organs feel like you in a microwave. So yeah, I text her to let her know I'm thinking about her on those days. I text her on other days too, but especially on the blood cleaning days. She always sends a smiley face back, which I appreciate because I know how much she hates texting. She loves getting them, but really hates sending them. Momly is who goes to pick Ma up, who takes her to the hospital's dialysis, another word with die in it, unit, takes her to the dialysis unit where she gets the treatment, who then brings her back home. And because Momly gets to Ma's house at the butt crack of dawn, Ma goes to bed dumb early on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays so she can be up and ready to go. And whenever Ma's not at treatment, she's recovering from it, which means she's usually lying in bed, drifting in and out of sleep, watching TV, or as she always puts it, letting the TV watch her. So the morning smiley faces we send each other are important. Correction. The smiley faces we send to each other are important to me. Almost as important as Vicky Tynes' boyfriend is to Vicky Tynes, who she announces is in high school every single day in homeroom. Mrs. Stansfield takes roll by going down her list and looking to see who's there and who's not. At Barnaby, Mrs. Simmons used to call our names out loud, needed to hear our voices. But in homeroom at Chester, there were a lot of voices already being heard, like Vicky Tynes. All of Vicky's friends be having heart eyes when they listen to Vicky go on and on and on and on and on. Macy Franks pays no attention to her and just folds paper. Like, what's the name of that thing? That way you fold paper into animals and all that? Mrs. Richardson used to help me and Cotton make paper fortune tellers when she was babysitting us back in the day. Used to give mine to Momly when she picked me up. But my fortune teller ain't never predict this, that's for sure. Anyway, Macy just be doing that, making birds and stuff. Laurie Brenner wants a belly button ring. Jasmine Stanger already got one. I saw it when she was showing Laurie. Pretty sure something's wrong with it. First period, English. Mr. Winston is teaching us poetry, which means Mr. Winston is teaching us boredom. My uncle said, tell Mr. Winston to teach y'all some Queen Latifah. At Chester, right. Remember the whole think about cannons thing? That's because we've been learning this one called The Charge of the Light Brigade. Cannons are mentioned in it, and Mr. Winston reads it like he's some kind of actor or something, all bassy and slow, like the man who narrates the previews at the movies. Like his dramatic voice is gonna make the poem any less whack. But hot sauce on cardboard is still cardboard. Then comes math, geometry. Ms. Teller says perpendicular and hypotenuse like her life depends on it. My life depends on math being over as quickly as possible. Then lunch. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What you think I'm gonna say. You think I'm gonna go on some kind of rant about how the cafeteria is basically like some kind of mini mealtime, and little old Patty Waddy doesn't have a group, so she can't have a seat, right? Well. Right? Well, right. Kind of. But not exactly. See, The real issue with the cafeteria is that it's tiny, like teeny tiny. It's almost as if when they started this academy, they didn't expect there to be many people who would actually come to get academy. They probably never thought regular kids from regular neighborhoods and regular schools would end up here. And here I am, looking for a seat in a space as small as the church we go to, and with just as much noise, but none of the spirit. Well, we will end right there with Miss Patty, with Miss Patina. So, her mother has to go to dialysis, and she thinks of her mother and wants to send her a little smiley face to brighten her day, because dialysis is a lot for someone's body to go through when your kidneys aren't working. But then we learn some more about Momly and her job, her business, and Uncle Tony. Uncle Tony is in information technology. So they have some pretty good jobs and pretty strenuous jobs too. But it's a good thing that even though Momly is very refined and cultured, that there's some comic relief in the house with Uncle Tony. But he's really glad that Patina is not upset about the track meet last Saturday anymore. But we're learning more about Chester Academy and what goes on there. And that their lunchroom is teeny tiny. That I find pretty amazing, because it seems like if it's a school with more affluent children, I was thinking that it might be a whole lot bigger. But if it's just girls, it might be a small private school. And that's the only reason why the lunchroom is so small. But we will learn more about Miss Patina. And I want to find out what happens when she runs that 4x800 for the first time. That's what I'm waiting on. I want to see how her and the girls learn how to work together. You know what else I want to find out? How that Frida Kahlo project goes and how the presentation happens. Is she the only one that knows about Frida Kahlo? Have the other girls at Chester Academy and her group done any work at all? We will see. We'll also see if she makes any friends there, because it is a small lunchroom. And a lot of times, where do you make friends at school? Either on the playground when you're smaller or in the lunchroom when you're older. So we will find out more about Miss Patina. Well, my friends, we are at the end of Miss Hope's reading hour. It always goes so fast, faster than I think, but we are at the end, and I'm so glad I got to be here with you on this marvelous Monday. Have a terrific Tuesday. Hopefully the weather is great like it is today. And I'll see you right back here on our wonderful Wednesday broadcast on Miss Hope's Reading Hour. I hope the rest of your marvelous Monday evening is just as marvelous as the beginning. I'll see you right back here on Miss Hope's Reading Hour. Until then, my friends, see you next time. Bye for now.